Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the European Racing Series Grand Prix here in Italy. And it's a little damp around the track today. As you can see, a little bit of rain falling. But I'm Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me on the caster's desk is, as always, the incredible David Fossetti Tate. How you doing?
As always, is this our third race together?
I think it is, you know. I think I joined in Hungary, right? That was my first race back.
But yeah, it is a damp track, a damp, miserable day, and
Yeah.
I can't recall the time I last drove Monza in the wet, and I imagine it's not something that these drivers will have factored in their preparation, to be honest.
No, they are quite lucky. The majority of the corners on the circuit are actually pretty slow. I think really the only two areas that they need to be more concerned about is sort of Ascari and the Parabolica. I think turn one's going to be a major braking issue. I think you're going to see a lot of people applying the brakes a little bit too much and locking up a fair bit, but other than that, I think it shouldn't be that difficult. Maybe the Lesmos might be a problem as well, especially if you run slightly wide and get on the gravel. That will cause some major issues later on, but we have 14 drivers on the circuit, and we only want 3 of them for the predictions, Dave. Hit me.
Oh, Mizzo, for sure, P1. God Gamer in the wet, God Gamer in the dry. Camille P2, and bit of a wild card, but I'm going to say Copy P3.
Copy. Now, Copy's pace has kind of been strange lately. I don't know how to describe it. He has got the pace, absolutely. He's got the consistency to go with it too, and he's actually someone who you can normally rely on to not get any penalties. But as of recent, I'm not really seeing some major results from him. I could be completely wrong altogether. Obviously, I've only done 3 races.
He had a great start to the season. He was right up there with his teammate Julian, but as Julian dipped, Copy took the reins initially, but he has seemed to drop his level as well. But I don't know, I've just got a feeling this might be his weekend where he makes his bounce back. But I think Just Chillin' is just starting a lap, so if you want to just take over and drag us through this lap.
Oh, absolutely. This is the DRS straight. Obviously, in the wet, they don't have that. There's a very long straight where majority of the overtaking is going to happen. You brake about the 150 meter wood if you're in the wet conditions. You can do a little bit later than that in the dry. You got turn 1 just right. Turn 2 is quite important because, again, it's another flat out zone as you come up towards the long turn 3 of this right-hander here. You keep it pinned the whole way around. You definitely want to stay as tight to the inside as you can. If you're in time trial mode, if you're racing, you need to think about the chicane that's coming up ahead. You want to brake just as the board ends on the right side, get yourself down the gears, hit the curb on the left just nice for turn 4 and 5, but it's just ran a bit deep as you can see. Just these wet conditions, meaning they brake a little bit less than they should, and sometimes you can run a little bit wide. But this is the Lesmos, that's the first, and you got the second one coming up just here. And this again is another important area of the track because you need to get the throttle exit perfect. DRS wing wide open again if it was dry, and again another opportunity for overtaking. It's much harder to do as you come up towards the beautiful awkward chicane, if you like. I think it's more than just a chicane, isn't it? You got the left-hander, then you got long right, and then straight into another quick left-hander as Jesse's trying to navigate. You get the exit again just right, and you can toe down here, but you don't really want to go for an overtake when you're in the race. If you go for the overtake here and DRS is enabled, you are almost signing that overtake right back over to the other driver, because here through Parabolica means the exit has to be great. It has to be better than your opponent, otherwise you are going to get slipstream DRS'd straight back down to turn 1. Oh, Camille's gone. Is that in the pits?
Exit of Ascari?
No, he's in the pits.
Okay.
He hasn't got a qualifying ban, has he?
I am going to check that right now. But yeah, just one flaw on that lap. You said you can break 150. It's actually whenever the racing line goes red is when you can break.
Oh, you.
A little flip up there, but I think we can forgive you.
No, I refuse to accept that racing line is a thing, as Yonti chucks in a beautiful lap time. I can guarantee you he's not using the racing line. A 1:28.890. Great starting point. Kind of dictating to the others just how much they need to step up their game. As Spicy's getting closer, 1:29.0. Copy P3, JC P4. We saw here have a really rough lap. Danica in P5, Brownie P6, and that is absolutely a banker. Look at that, 1:31.0. And Dennis is trying to tease us by going through the dry tires.
No, he's just debated us. Back onto the inters. Yeah, so for our information, it's Camille and Kagan Studiumanoglu both serving qualifying bans today.
Right.
So we'll have seen that. And Dennis goes for the medium. So
yeah,
maybe
he's definitely debating
to
us.
come in this session. Or he is doing exactly that and just flicking through tyres, just trying to annoy us.
I've just seen
had a lap invalidated.
Did
Looks
he?
like he's going
Oh,
for
yeah.
it against Rwaggy though.
He's mode 0 right now, which is what is odd.
That
So
is
something
something that
went wrong
Mizzo
for him.
does though. He's back up to 4 now, yeah. Mizzo always keeps it low in the wet. You'll never
Yeah.
see him with an empty DRS and ERS bar. So
Oh,
Brownie goes pole.
he was a
By
131
1
driver a second ago. He's now a 128.889. 1,000th separating him and Yonti. Clearly the Shizou boy, sorry, have been working together to get good. Alright, okay. Looking at Rainbow earlier, I saw him having a bit of lag issues. I don't know if it's game frame rate or if it's his network that's causing him issues, but he was teleporting back just a fair bit. The rain showing no signs of letting up makes me think that we are going to be seeing inters throughout the remainder of this qualifying session, but we do still have 12 minutes to go. And who knows, if the rain should... Oh, Rainbow! Oh, that was a catch. He almost lost the rear so badly there. He's trying to get the power down for the home straight. Like I said earlier, if you come through the Parabolica, you need to make sure your exits are as good as possible to get as much time here as you can, especially if you're defending or even attacking for that matter, actually. There you go, coming in towards turn 1, he's ran deep. Yeah, this has really compromised his entire run through 1-2, and now he's going to be so much slower than he necessarily wanted to be. I wouldn't be surprised if he does in fact back out of this lap. Or maybe he's just going to put banker in, to be fair.
And I think this might be a slight giveaway of what we're expecting in the race, because it looks to me like Rainbow is driving a dry setup here.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that rear end is all over the place. He's got no front end grip. That is certainly a dry setup. As the Mario Baby's actually just gone onto the soft tyre and flicked back.
Now, do you reckon we're going to see the official F1 style qualifying here, where everyone was trying to get the tow when pretty much no one qualified?
I mean, no, I don't think so, to be honest. I think we'll definitely see teams working together, that's for sure. I don't think we've seen one yet, but I think a couple of guys like Copy and Danico might be in a position to do that. Mizzo and Just Chilling, I know they'll be talking to each other and they'll definitely have something in store for us. They tend to reserve it for the last lap, which is probably why we haven't seen it yet. As Spicy goes P1 with a huge lap. Yep. 28.2.
That's really living up to the name there, isn't it? Chucking in a nice spicy lap time. I am seeing that Myth has just got a purple Sector 1 though, so clearly the track might be starting to gain a little bit of grip here. If that's working wonders for them, if they are on the dry setup, a bit of a back-end kick out there for Myth, but yeah, if the track is starting to get more grippy, this will actually start to plummet those lap times down. I mean, in fairness, considering the wet conditions, they're not actually that far away from qualifying on the dry sort of times. And I know we're seeing sort of 118s, 119s in dry sort of scenarios, and in some cases you can see 17s, but you know, we're talking crazy level pace there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a feature of the track. There's not much turning to be done. If there is, it's completely flat out like Curva Grande, and you know, you obviously got your braking down into the chicanes, which will be slightly longer, but not too much. And pin to the throttle the exit from Myth as he comes down the pit straight. What's it going to be? It's P1 by some distance. It's 28.0.
Yeah, he lived up to that, didn't he? Really smashed it in home. He's got a tenth and a bit between him and Spicy. He's kind of raised the bar that a little bit further, but again, it just kind of dictates that the track is starting to get grippier, despite the fact that the rain is still falling. So, you know, good scenes. I like this. I want to see if Beaker... I actually think Beaker is probably one of the best drivers in the wet that I've seen. He seems to be so consistent. I mean, he's regularly roasting me for not putting wet weather on when we do open lobbies, because he loves the conditions that much. But, you know, if he can put his money where his mouth is and put the skills onto the track, I think we might see him up there in the top 3. I mean, I didn't give you my top 3, but I think we're right in the same sort of, you know, Mizzo up there in P1. I think Beaker will probably be sitting around about P2. He might be there alongside Yonti potentially, but I don't know. I mean, there are people here that are surprising me with their pace in these wet conditions. Oh, Beaker! Oh no! Oh no! Into the wall! Oh, there's the front wing. It's in bits. I mean, Ascari. Actually, I completely forgot what track we're on, because Ascari is a circuit Italy is a circuit that he can't do. Ascari just seems to end his career every time I see him here. He just gets it wrong so many times.
I mean, Ascari in the dry, because you've got to take that curb at the exit to get the time, and yeah, it's just scary. It's scary enough in the dry. I can't imagine in the inters. That exit is just impossible, as Mizzo and Just Chillin are doing exactly what I said they would do. They are towing down into the Variante della Roggia, if you want to get technical.
Technical. If you want to call it what it is.
Chicane, you can call it second chicane, you can call it turn 3 and 4, but it is the Variante della Roggia.
It's actually turn 4-5, actually.
Oh, okay, well, actually, Dennis Wires has again gone onto the soft tyre.
He's just debating you, that's all it is.
No
he wants to hear his name
back.
called out. Yeah, he'll switch it back.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that someone tries something a little bit different.
Yeah, but it won't work out though, surely. I mean, they're all clearly on dry setups, like you said. I think you absolutely nailed that one on the head, but yeah, I don't think we're in a position where we can go to dry tyres just yet, despite the fact that Dennis is trying to tease us with that. The rain is still falling. The circuit is definitely still wet enough for the DRS to be disabled, which tells us that the dry tyres are just not going to work right now. Now we're going to see JC in the 27s. It's not going to be. It's a low 28 though, 28.350. Still 3/10 separating him and Copy, which is great for him as it stands. But we have Yonti, we have Brownie, both out on circuit right now. Brownie's actually coming up to the end of his hot lap. I'm expecting him to be up there in the top 3 at least.
Yeah, no idea what he's done so far, but keeping it very calm through Parabolica as Myth takes pole just by the narrowest of margins. Brownie might have something to say. He does not.
It was slightly faster, but just not enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Not an improvement in the standings.
Yonti has invalidated. And Danico is working through turn 4-5. And it wasn't that quick, I'll be truthfully honest. I don't think this is going to be a record-breaking lap time. Looks like he's just struggling for the understeer. Might be better for him to just turn the wing up slightly, but obviously Parc Ferme means that you can't do that now. You can do it pre-race.
Interesting. Rainbow, 4th lap on these tyres. Still down in P8, and he's just come across the chicane. He is a guy that's really, really struggling in these conditions. He does not seem to be able to get the car slowed down, as Mizzo now, in an effort to debate me, goes into the softs, as does Beaker.
I think they're teasing to let us know that the rain is going to stop soon. I mean, I'm looking at the halo of Copy. There are still some spots of rain there, but they're definitely reducing from what I can see. So potential that we're going to see dry. I would be very surprised if the track dries enough for DRS to be re-enabled, honestly, with just 5 minutes to go. Never mind. That couldn't have been any worse timing for track. All right, cool. We're about to see all these lap times get destroyed. So yeah, going back to what I was saying.
It still looks pretty wet out there, though.
It does, but if DRS has been enabled, then surely it's got to be dry enough for you to go out on some soft and nail it.
We were commentating last night, and the DRS had not been disabled, but it was clearly too wet for softs. But we'll see. I still think maybe the Inter at the moment, but obviously in 4 minutes' time, I think it will be past that crossover point.
Yep. All right. Well, Copy is currently on that hot lap as well on the Inters. Looks very nervous going in towards Ascari. Exit was pretty clean though. Having to shift up the gears very quickly. Look at that, already in mode 8 because the traction is just not there now. I think he's going to be bringing this one in.
I would imagine so, yeah. Doesn't look like he's pushing at all.
It's the right thing to do. You definitely need to get in, get your tyres changed and come back out again. But nobody yet out on the softs. We are, I think we're at that time. We are, yes. Okay, I can finally say it. We are at the calm before the storm as the drivers are in the pits, choosing now which tyres they need to go onto. Looking like majority of them are going to be on softs. They can definitely go the distance on them, so no surprise if they all went onto the softs. And the track is drying out, so good news for them. Bad news if you look at the clock, because we are running out of time.
Yeah, not a Formula 1 car in sight, so we've got to think on our feet and make up a bit of filler here. And I can't do that.
Well, I mean, it's
So
the thing to mention quite clearly here is the strategies that they're going to have to go on to. You know, that if it is staying dry the entire race, then we're going to be seeing pretty much a soft to mediums no matter what. Maybe those outside the top 10 will go for the medium softs, and actually, as this is a track that is very easy to overtake on, that would be quite a strong strategy, especially, you know, for the likes of Camille, who's going to be starting outside of the top 10. He's really got that working towards the advantage. Coming towards the later stage of the race, he should be able to just absolutely floor it. But again, you know, it all comes down to staying out of trouble, making sure you don't get any penalties by being greedy, especially in turns 4, 5. You know, you can easily get some penalties there if you just cut the inside curb on the left a bit too much. But I'm confident. I'm confident that Camille can get onto the podium again.
yeah, I think so. I mean, it is a track that's good for overtaking. So you know, one thing I'm worried about is it is going to turn into a bit of a DRS train through this race. But
Yeah,
in
I
terms
mean,
of the qualifying,
it is.
the circuit is dry. We've got 3 drivers out on the mediums: Yonti, Marinello Baby, and Bika. I mean, the mediums do have a wider working range for tyre temps, but I'm just not sure that's the right call at the moment for the qualifying. Especially
It's
from these
risky.
drivers you'd probably see in the top 10 on pace.
Yeah, I think that they're either one of two things. They're either really confident in their ability to get a top 10 lap time on the mediums, or they firmly believe that they can keep themselves out of trouble when we start this race. Because I mean, that's the other thing. It's the risky run when you go on the mediums. If you go on the mediums and then you have an accident in the early stages of the race, you've done yourself over strategy-wise. It's because you have to pit pretty much. You can't afford to do this race without any wing, or at least with damage wing. You can't do it.
We might have a little bit of a queue for me here. Sorry to cut you off, but
that's all right.
we might be looking at an F1 style queue. We've got, it's Copy followed by JC, followed by Dennis, followed by Bika. So there's 4 cars queuing up there, and they're about to be joined by the Red Bull of Brownie, looking to take advantage of the slipstream and maybe not so much of the dirty air.
Yeah, in fact, Marinello Baby is further up the field, has just set a purple Sector 1, which isn't a surprise considering this is the first hot lap, if you like, on dry tyres. Now, don't expect it to be the hottest of laps. The mediums obviously are not going to operate anywhere near as good as the soft will, but still, these are tyres that you want to start your race on if you can. But again, you've got to worry about that damage off the start. Do not get involved in any incidents and just keep it clean throughout. Yep, I think you're right though. That toe for the Trins going down that's being led by Myth is going to be a stunning one, I think.
Yeah, JC's just backed off a little bit too much. He's not going to get that slipstream, but he most certainly is probably going to get it to Bika.
Oh no.
Far away, so...
Marinello Baby's made a big boo-boo.
Big boo-boo?
He's invalidated and he's not going to have enough time to cross the line. That means now that the 1:32.0 that he set on the intermediate tyres is going to be the only lap time he can get on, and straight to the pits he goes. As here comes Rainbow, he will be setting the first lap on the dry tyres, and it is a 1:22.2, which is not quick enough. We're going to see soon enough.
It's certainly an indicator that the track isn't at its best just yet. I wouldn't say Rainbow is a 1:22 driver around here.
No, agreed.
Certainly not. But whether he made a mistake or whether the track is just not up to it at this point in time is up for debate. Mizzo will quickly put that debate to an end though as he comes through Parabolica. Runs nice and wide on that exit. Just wide enough and a bit of a twitch, but it's across the line in a mostly Code Brown free lap, which is a 1:21.0.
Which kind of reinforces what you were just saying about the track's just not being quite ready and at the temperatures. Yonti comes to the line, he's looking much faster, but it is a 1:22.3. So, but that is on the mediums in fairness. We'll give him that benefit of the doubt if you like there. Danico crosses the line, goes a 1:28.8. We have now Myth, I believe it is. Yes, the first of the train to make it to the line. He goes pole. It's a 1:20.6. Is Just Chilling going to be able to do any better than that? Here he comes. It's a 1:21.9, so not enough.
Mega lap from Myth. Dennis P5 as well, and it's just Brownie to go. What's he got? It does not tell us. I'm trying to look at steering wheel. P10.
Nice. That's not so great, actually. It must have been validated or something.
So a mega lap by Myth puts him head and shoulders clear of Mizzo, almost a second clear of P3. Brilliant lap by him. Timing the conditions just right and putting his money where his mouth is and getting that maximum performance where it counts.
So the rundown of the end of qualifying is as follows. It's Myth who's on pole position with Mizzo in second, Spicy in third, Just Chillin' in fourth, Dennis in fifth with Rainbow in sixth, Beaker in seventh, Yonti in eighth, Copy in ninth, and Brownie rounding out the top 10. It's interesting to know that from ninth onwards for the 4 drivers, they all qualified on the intermediates. They didn't get a time in that actually mattered when it came down to the dry conditions. And obviously Camille and Kagan, they will be starting at the back of the grid due to the qualifying ban that they had from the previous race. So they have a lot of work cut out. They definitely need to choose the right strategy going into this. I'm confident that we're going to see some medium tires on a lot of those outside the top 10. Probably the right option to go for. I'm just curious how Camille's going to work this. Because he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who's that patient. He likes to just go for it and show his pace all the time.
I am 90% sure he'll go for softs. It's just from what I've seen, it's the driver he is. He will not give anyone an inch. He will not give anyone a second's rest. He will just go for it. He will attack, attack, attack.
Looks like we've had somebody accidentally join in the name of Envy. So we'll see how that pans out. Hopefully it doesn't affect.
Accident. No, he's just left, so...
Well, here we go then. So the rest of the guys on the circuit are going to be starting on the softs, it looks like. Those obviously 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th all qualified on the mediums. So they're going to be pretty good going into this race. You got Danico there on the softs, Marinella Baby on mediums, Camille on mediums, but Kagan going on to the softs.
Well, I was wrong. I messed up. I'll let you down.
It's okay. I'll forgive you, you know. And in terms of the top 3, we were pretty off, to be truthfully honest. You know, at the end of qualifying, we didn't. I didn't put Myth in my top at all. I didn't think he was going to make it, and clearly, I put my trust in the wrong place. I'm actually going to back Myth going into this race. I think, providing that he can keep it consistent enough and just not have any issues, no penalties either. I think this race is probably his. But Mizzo is someone you just can't avoid. You know, he is so fast. And it's quite scary how he can just, you know, manipulate the track to his benefit and just pass you without even trying. So yeah. I'm going to go first on my top 3. I'm going to go Mizzo, Myth, Dennis.
Interesting. Mizzo, Myth, Camille. No, sorry, Brownie. Brownie.
You don't think Camille can do it?
I don't.
But you think Brownie can?
His impatience will come to bite him. But I think Brownie, yeah, he is excellent in this kind of situation. He's gone for the long stint, which he did in RNL Belgium, I think, and did really well out of it.
Yeah, I mean...
No, it was ERS Belgium, sorry. It was ERS, him and Yepany. So
Brownie...
it's just going to be a repeat of last week for him.
Brownie is the guy who will be able to pull off this strategy perfectly. He almost always never gets penalties in these scenarios. He almost always keeps it clean and consistent throughout the entire race and avoids all carnage.
Gone.
Yeah, that's bad news, Bez.
That's terrible. All that work in qualifying. Those Code Brown laps at the end.
Yep.
Amounting for nothing.
I mean, he'll be able to get back in again. He's just not going to get the start he wants, and that's the issue. You're going to lose so many places from that. And GSC's been in such a bad position for such a long time when it comes to these races. And a lot of the time, it's not even his fault. He just seems to get caught up in these scenarios. But here we go then. The Italian Grand Prix is about to get underway. It's going to be Myth who's going to lead us away as these lights go out. And we are away. Myth has got a great start. Mizzo's got a great start. And actually, JC, his Ghost, has actually got a solid start. Look at that on the outside. You can't necessarily see it. They are going 3 wide coming in towards turn 1. The Ghost will not affect any of them, so it's only going to be 2 wide. And I don't think we're seeing any carnage. Everybody's kept it pretty clean. No wing has gone flying, at least not that I can see. And I think Kagan's doing well here.
Yeah, I was just going to mention before we started, if there's one corner I want to be ghosted for, it's turn 1 Italy. And Just Chillin' rejoins just before the Variante della Roggia in his Alfa Romeo. And Rainbow gets tagged by Mizzo, almost comes around, and Just Chillin' still ghosted, goes through BK. Oh. He's dropped down to P7.
Brownie, look at that. He's got damage on the right side, and he's completely rotated going in towards turn 4. So something went seriously wrong there for him. I didn't see exactly what happened, but... his race, and I was just saying, that's 3 times I've commentated cursed someone today. I said so earlier that, you know, he's actually somebody who can be quite clean, quite consistent, avoid trouble, and first lap, turn 4, in damage.
Well, you never know. I hope he doesn't give up, because it's not over yet. There is so many twists in his tail, no doubt. As we see Mizzo just having a look down the inside of Dennis. Probably wise to get past because that gap is over a second already, and you do not want to miss out on the DRS train here. As Smith takes the fastest lap.
Here we go, just chilling then. He's chasing alongside Yonti. He might actually be able to get this move done and dusted before we even get towards turn 1. It's going to be all about that braking zone. He's got the softer tyre, obviously, so he has got the extra grip. And yep, Yonti's just going to have to filter in behind here. JC back up to P7.
Yep, Mizzo not overly keen, not taking a stab down the inside in the, can't remember the name of the first chicane. But into the second chicane, it looks like he's dropped back a bit. The interval's not really fixed itself, but Spicy also dropping back, giving Myth, I would say, a clear couple of seconds out in front. Which could be good, but it could also mean that he's kind of hung out to dry there, and he has to give it everything to stay in front, whereas these guys behind can just work with each other and kind of save fuel, save battery, and work to get him later in the race. JC going down the inside of Beaker now into Ascari, gets the move done. That is textbook, absolute textbook. That's how you do it. And it'll be up next. It will be on the back of this train towards Rainbow, who's doing pretty well, it has to be said, early in this race.
Yeah.
Covering well from a pretty poor qualifying.
Okay, we'll keep firm eyes around the circuit. I am seeing that Myth has actually pulled a massive gap already to Spicy. It's really quite scary for the rest of the pack to see how he's so comfortable. He's really starting to get away. Dennis actually doing well as well. He's actually just improved the lap time that was already set by Myth, and he's closing in on Spicy. Oh, he's actually closing a bit too quick. Oh, there was a bit of tap there from the back of from the front of Dennis into the back of Spicy. Luckily, I don't think there was any damage there for Dennis. He's really escaped that one.
Yeah, Brownie into the pits now. Early pit stop. I'm not sure. It might be onto the hards for the rest of the race. I think that's the only thing you can realistically do. Just gamble. He's got nothing to lose. It's an instant free stop and he's back out.
Alright, and Camille as well. He's done well to get himself up the field so far. P10 is where he sits right now, just on the back of Yonti. DRS obviously got enabled this lap, so he has got an opportunity to use that. Maybe tame his ARS a little bit. He was actually doing exactly that. Mud Zero pretty early. But Yonti is doing quite well actually to maintain this. I think P9, whilst you're on the medium tyres, is not so bad. He's second when it comes to... Oh, actually, Camille, what happened there? He got really out of shape there. Actually, look at Copy. Copy's going to pass Camille here. And that's a nice little move there from Copy, capitalising on Camille's mistakes.
Yeah, I think a case of trying too hard, but it's exactly what he's doing at the moment. He's on the slower tyre. He needs to make up time, and the only way you're going to do that is just push like hell, and it looks like... Oh, almost looked like he was going into the pits there. It's going to be a drag race down the chicane, and it's going to be 3 wide, almost. No, it's not. But Kagan flicks to the outside. He's clear of Copy and might get the move done. Camille outbrakes himself and slightly hangs out Kagan Suleimanoglu out to dry. That is Copy back in P11 with a good run now into the Rwagnation chicane. But he chooses not to take it, but he is holding up a big queue here.
Yeah, this battle has actually really kind of affected those from P10 onwards. It's brought the rest of the field further away, and Dennis is out. Where's that? I can't even see it.
In the wall.
Oh no, that is a big smash as well. I mean, he must have got wide.
A little kick of gravel, I think.
Yeah.
Just sent it into the inside wall, and that's a safety car, and that is huge news for Brownie. That is exactly what he needed.
Yeah, he needs to get himself in the pits now and get onto another set of mediums. Mediums should go to the rest of this race, I think, which would be great for him. I don't think staying on the hards would be the right thing.
What I would be doing if I was one of these front runners, I would go in for a set of hards.
You think so? I'm pretty sure the mediums can go to the end here. I mean, the tyre wear is not that severe if you think about it. A lot of this circuit is slow corners and just flat out straights. Interesting that none of the... Oh, actually, never mind. Rainbow's just chucked himself in the last second, so has just chilling. And that is also Danico in the back as well. So a few of the top 10 actually chucking themselves in, and loads more people join him in there as well. Camille being one of them. Is he going to go hard then? Surely not.
He is. See, this is why I'm a god gamer. The Renault team going for the double stack as well. And it's both hards. It's everyone, by the looks of it, going for those hards. Rainbow GC go on the mediums, but those that were on the mediums have generally gone for the hard, with the exception of the Marinello Baby, who's going all out, big balls, soft tyres.
So, I think Camille had no choice but to go hard, if I'm honest. Obviously, the fact that he started on the mediums meant that if he pitted on that when he did net, then he had to go to the hards. He couldn't go softs, let's be honest. The softs were definitely not going to make it to the end. It was already a question mark whether or not the mediums are going to make it to the end, despite the fact I think they can. So he was, I can't go into another set of mediums, otherwise it means I have to go again into the pits. But is Camille's pace good enough on these hards to be able to catch up to the front runners and potentially gain some high point scoring positions? If I'm being truthfully honest, I think no.
I think it's good enough to maintain, and that's what you want to do really. If you're going to the end, and these guys in front aren't generally, maintain your position. Stay in the DRS train. Don't get into any fights that you can't win or that you will win at a cost. Just be patient. But patient, as we know, is not really a word that's in Camille's vocabulary.
No. And that's ultimately what kind of affects his races quite a lot. He tends to get a bit too aggressive, a bit too pushy. Whilst it is great to commentate on, it's so exciting, it ruins his race so much. And ultimately, he's not getting these high point scoring positions, and he's getting these DNFs and damage and mistakes being made just because he's going that much. He's always running at 110%, never conserving when he needs to.
Yeah. Definitely one for the qualifying sessions, not so much for the race, but yeah, an insanely quick driver. Just needs to learn a bit of racecraft and he'll be the finished article.
Now, I'm very curious to see why Marinello Baby went for softs. He's the only person outside the top 10 that's gone onto the soft tyres. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, you're going to have to pit again no matter what now. Surely that has to have been a big mistake being made there.
It's a brave call, as Camille takes a little trip across the grass there. It's a brave call, and I think it might be a call that banks on another safety car coming out. It banks on him getting the track position, and hopefully another safety car will come out just at the right time for him, and he can ride off into the sunset. As Camille goes around.
Oh,
Camille at 110%, even under safety car, is around on the exit of the Della Roggia. Trying to get his tyres under temperature, Ericsson just comes up from nowhere and just hits him in the behind. Unbelievable.
Ericsson definitely hit him that time. We saw it with our own eyes. Brownie still behind though. That's just kind of how much that initial incident on the first lap affected Brownie's race. He went onto the hards and he's still out on the same set of hards he took earlier. That's just how bad he was affected.
I think Brownie was taking it a little bit easy. Obviously, he knows that he's in it for the long haul. He does not want to put any unnecessary strain on the tyres. Camille clearly doesn't share that viewpoint, as you see him weaving and flooring the gas and, pirouetting and everything. But at least those rears will be up to temperature. That is one thing we're certain about.
Yeah, now Myth is the one who's going to be controlling this restart. The safety car is obviously going all the way around, and he can't yet set off just now. He has to wait for the safety car to get into the pit lane before he can then decide to go. And I think it's going to be a very quick restart for Myth. He's not going to hold fire at all. You ready? And go. There it is. But he's lost the rear. That's not good for him. Spicy trying to capitalize. He couldn't go for the overtake. Myth actually faked it out. I think he could have actually gone there, to be truthfully honest. But here we go. Myth leading away. Mizzo in the tow as well. Beaker's really close to the back of Mizzo. Watch out for this dive here. He might have to go around the outside, I think. Or is he going to flick it? Nope, he's backed off. That was a very sensible move here. But that is Yonti in P5 going side by side with Kagan. That isn't really something you want to do when you're going through turn 1-2. But they've made it work. And Yonti will stay at P5.
Yeah, there's a couple of cars going side by side there. No real choice. Camille has gained a position on Copy. Well, the position he lost into the safety car, at least.
Oh, Jesse and Kagan. Jesse's going around the outside. This is going to be very risky through turn 4-5. I think Kagan's been a little bit tapped there, and that's actually Renault as well in the background who's had to cut the corner just a bit. But Jesse, well played, sir. Making that one work quite nicely and getting a position gain on Kagan.
Yeah, that mistake from Danico has promoted Camille to the highest of the hard runners. So he is in the prime position to capitalise if he decides to go to the end. And if we are green flag all the way through.
Yeah. Oh, Rainbow's going into... Oh, he almost ran into the back of Kagan there. That would have been very bad if he'd have had that connection. I can see now why the gap actually stepped out. Rainbow did such a good job there of avoiding the collision, but this has allowed Marinella Baby and Camille to capitalize a little bit. Camille's obviously gained the most. He's jumped Marinella Baby. Rainbow's come back across onto the racing line. Oh, Camille almost ran into the back of Rainbow as well. This is actually better for Marinella Baby. A little touch into the back of Camille of that Mercedes. Almost destabilizes the vehicle, but somehow Camille keeps himself pointing true, and he's already holding back Marinella Baby.
Yeah, chopping across the inside. It almost looks like Rainbow's trying to give Marinella Baby a bit of a slipstream where he can.
It was so scary again.
Yeah, a couple of times I've seen Rainbow just flicking his car in front of the Marinella Baby just to try and tow him along the straight. Maybe, well, I would definitely rather the Marinella Baby in front of me or behind me than Camille, let's be honest.
I think he's trying to ruin Camille's race. I think he's trying to allow Marinella Baby, who he knows is on soft tires. You know, that in that scenario, you're thinking, well, okay, well, he's going to have to pit. He's pretty much lost this position fight anyway. Marinella Baby, who is feeling much grippier than Camille right now, if Rainbow can keep Marinella Baby ahead of Camille, that will break that gap even further. And it's actually working. Look at the gap that they've got right now. It's almost a full second, which when we come to the beginning of the next lap, we'll have DRS back.
Yeah, real 400 IQ plays from Rainbow. Really impressive stuff. And managing to stay within that crucial 1 second behind Suleimanoglu. And he was... No, JC is the top guy that's pitted so far. So he is in the prime position maybe to take these tires to the end. And it is a maybe at the moment, I think.
Oh, no!
Oh! And holds it in spectacular fashion. And there's Spicy into the pits.
I mean, Kagan's gained off of it, but still, JC. I mean, he's had some brilliant moves this race, but that was a very scary one to say the least. Marinella Baby has managed to get past Camille, so Rainbow's 400 IQ move that you mentioned earlier has actually paid off again. This is really paying dividends for Rainbow now. He can just carry on charging forwards, doesn't need to look backwards. He does have to worry about JC though, especially as JC's tyres are going to be a little bit warm, considering that little rotation he had through Parabolica. Yeah,
I think Rainbow just needs to rely on this train remaining a train, not doing anything too silly and fragmenting itself as Kagan Suleimanoglu and just chilling side by side through the Lesmos. Almost a tap, but JC just filters back in. Marinella Baby has a look down the inside of the Lesmo too, but thinks better of it. And now the DRS zone. Everyone with the DRS, I think, apart from Beaker. He has lost out to Mizzo, but obviously those Haas boys will not be fighting too hard at all.
Oh, that was coming. Yeah, he turned in just a bit too much and getting a 3-second time penalty. He's also run wide there, so more than likely got a warning to assist that. Now, Rainbow's in trouble, obviously. Yeah, he's definitely going to send it. And I don't blame him for trying this, but if you're Rainbow, you just let him go, or do you? Never mind, he went deep there, and that's cost him anyway. And now he's just screwed his own exit here. He could have got the run of dreams that he needed, and now he's going to be running side by side. The toe is going to be favored to one of them. Who's it going to be? Looks like it's Marinella Baby, even if it is only slight. Those soft tyres mean that going in towards turn 1-2 is going to be so much easier as Kagan's trying to size one up on Yonti on the outside through turn 1. This has actually caused a little bit of touch and go there, but Yonti's still fine. He's not lost anything. JC's here as well. And ultimately, no position changes other than Marinella Baby passing Rainbow.
Yeah, no position changes, but there is a change in the sense that Camille is now half a second behind Rainbow, so he is firmly at the back of this DRS train now, and he will be happy to... Well, I don't think he will be happy to stay there, but he should be happy to stay there.
Yeah.
Because he is in a very good position for the end of this race now.
And again, it goes back to Camille's scenario. I think he made the mistake of pitting under the safety car, honestly. I think if he'd just stayed on the mediums, rode out the stint, just as these Haas boys are right now, get onto those softs later, and then just capitalize on everyone else being that much slower. There would be great news for them. And right now, here comes JC looking for Kagan. Kagan's ran deep. He's gone into the gravel. Actually, it's cost him a lot. He's having to cut this corner drastically just to keep himself straight and true. He didn't get a penalty, but he's lost a lot of places from that mistake.
Yeah, he's supposed to lose one more, I think. Danico with the run. Maybe not. He has decided to ease up. And he'll be grateful for someone to DRS with, actually. Because he was hung out to dry by Camille and his pace. But here comes Kagan into the pits. But not before giving a healthy dose of DRS to the two Renault boys.
Now, I did see JC just attacking Yonti going in towards the Parabolica, then he decided to back out of it. Marinella Baby's obviously gained on JC as a result of that, but this is still working brilliantly for JC. Now, I've jinxed 3 people today, so I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm thinking. Positive thoughts is all I'm saying.
Positive thoughts, but don't have positive thoughts about drivers because that means negative actions. So Marinello Baby has a look down the inside of Yonti. No messing. Absolutely no messing, but he's running dangerously low in battery. So it might be worth, well, I say it might be worth waiting for that battery, but there's only a finite amount of grip left in those soft tyres. I'm surprised actually that these two up front have managed to extend as far as 10 laps.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
Spicy's been in 2 laps ago.
Yeah, look how far down he's dropped as a result. I mean, Yonti just lost a place to Marinello Baby. Again, just chilling's on the back of Yonti right now. JC, ready to attack. ERS level's not looking too great for him, though, but they are about the same as Yonti ahead. So this is still pretty standard stuff for these boys. They're quite used to this scenario. They need to maintain it later. But this is a track that is majority of it flat out. Myth is in the pits. Mizzo has decided not to. He's decided to stay out one more lap. And Yonti trying to close in on Marinello Baby. I think that's more just to maintain tow. ERS. Oh, actually, Marinello Baby's going for a send on Beaker. That is a good move done. But again, it's going to be all for nothing when he comes later into this race and those soft tyres are dead and he has to change over to the mediums. I mean, he might go for another set of softs, but surely not.
It's all he can do. You know, regardless of whether he makes these overtakes or sits in the queue happily, he's going to have to pit again. That is certain. So you might as well take advantage while you've got that superior grip. And he is taking advantage, that is for sure. Great moves by him.
To think that he was actually scrapping with Camille and Rainbow at one point. He's obviously right up there now. Only 3.5 seconds away from Mizzo. This is actually bad news for Mizzo, if I'm being truthfully honest. Obviously, Mizzo's 11 laps in on these softs. The wear's going to be quite drastic for them. Marinello Baby will be bringing that gap in, which is going to be great for those guys that are on the mediums. They're like, oh, great, I got the tow. I've got, you know, an ERS management system locked in. I can't really complain here. DRS helping me benefit from that too. I just have to sit with him, which is what Beaker's done wrong here. He's actually took that wrong.
Now on Yonti. Sorry to cut you off, though.
No,
Yonti gets a terrible exit out of Ascari, and he's right back in this fight. They're too deep. Too wide, too deep, I should say. Oh. Camille round the outside of Parabolica on the hard tyre. Can he stick that exit? No sliding whatsoever by the young Pole. And a little bit of a weave from Rainbow. I'm not sure what he's doing. Temperature's fine, mate. You've just got to get your head down. And
this is about to get scrappy.
From Yonti. No, but Camille does send it down the outside of turn 1. Gets it in, bump and run.
But look how much that's compromised him, look.
Yeah, Yonti maintains that position, but at a cost.
Yeah.
It's a fight I don't think Yonti was looking for, though, to be honest.
No, Camille false upon him, and he's doing it again.
And that's what we're talking about. He is just super aggressive. Doesn't matter what compound he's on, he's going to attack you.
Yeah, I mean, like we said before, it has cost him a few races, and I mean, you know, DNFs in the past, it's caused him to lose a few points positions in the past, gain a few penalties too. Yes, he's now still within DRS of just chilling, so this has actually worked out quite well for him on this occasion, but that could have gone seriously wrong. If Yonti had not given him that extra space that he needed, that could have gone drastically wrong for Camille. It's a risky take, but has high reward.
We're going to unleash the Ultra Curse on him. If this race stays green, Camille wins.
All right. Well, JC's going for a move on Beaker. Beaker squeezing. Oh, Beaker really put JC to the limit there. I mean, the door was only slightly open in the first place, and Beaker just gave that a big old jolt there to shut that door down. Camilo on the back of this. Here he comes. Yeah, he's going to do it. He's got to do it. I mean, Rainbow's going to go for Yonti as well. Beaker's going to lose it. Oh, he's lagged back as well. But Camille might actually jump up to P2 here. This is going to be a big move if he can pull it off. And JC's going to stick it round. He's actually going round. JC holding that position, going round the outside of turn 1, getting the inside for turn 2, and just managed to keep it completely under control. And Beaker's sizing up Camille as well. This is going to be a big move into turn 4 if he goes for a send. Camille having a little bit of lag issues there. Beaker's capitalizing on the ghosting, or has he? He's not. Camille breaks that a little bit later. Beaker takes the safer line, and JC. Yeah.
Big loss of grip on the exit of the Della Roggia, and he almost gets taken by Rainbow here. It's too wide through the Lesmos. It's still too wide through the Lesmos. And bumping and bumping and bumping, and I think that's slightly unfair from Beaker. He's got every right to be there.
Hey, he is livid. You know he's livid. I've been in the voice comms with him when he's in these races. He does not get happy when that happens to him, but you know, he's going to be fighting regardless. He's going to be trying to stay on the back of Rainbow, and he ultimately should just let him go if he's struggling like that. You know, Rainbow is that much faster at the minute, but here comes Camille again on JC. The tow being utilized, but no ERS for now. This is going to be a home straight battle, that's for sure. Miz obviously came in, and he's dropped right down to P12 as a result, but, you know, we've still got a fair few people left yet to pit. Marinelli is going to be one of them. Here comes Camille on JC.
And another move to be made. I think Danico might have a little go at Beaker here. Around the outside. Beaker comes across in the braking zone and nearly hits Rainbow, has to lock up, ends up hitting Danny. Danny nudges Beaker, doesn't get a good exit, and yeah, nudging all around, I think, as the two Renaults lose out big time.
Yeah.
Brownie up into 7th there.
JC's back on the rear of Camille again, and this is kind of working out. This is ultimately a battle for P1 right now, if you think about it. You know, the one thing that is favoured now towards Camille is that his pace just seems to be that much better overall. And the tyres will obviously go to the end for the hards. Like you said though, if this track stays green, Camille's got this one in the bag. If the race ends up with another safety car, Camille's race is going to be in the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, they're all going to pit and it's all going to be a reset of the race, I think, as Kagan Suleimanoglu picking up a penalty there. But he's already in P13, last among the running drivers. But Marinello Baby, the next one to pit, and I suspect he'll be in this lap, and that should drop him down, realistically, I think P13, I want to say. Probably going to lose ground to Mizzo, I imagine.
He stays out. Yeah. That is an interesting call to make there, let's be honest. Alright, just chilling though, still with Camille. The gap has actually extended quite nicely for Camille. He's a bit happy. The ERS level is not looking so good for Just Chillin', but they're looking a little bit worse for Camille overall. 27% on Camille, 37% for Just Chillin'. Ultimately, if JC's got the pace, he can just manage Camille's ERS, and he can just play the long game. He also needs to worry about the tyre wear, which is obviously bad when you're in someone's dirty air, but at the same time, it can, if you can take it a little bit easier through the braking zones and a little bit, and still maintain pace, then ultimately you're not losing much, but that won't help you gain on the gravel. I think he's outside the 1 second. Yes, he is. Bad news bears for JC.
Yeah. Camille also getting on the gravel, but seeming not to lose too much of pace because of it. He's like a dog with a bone, this guy. He's chasing after P1. P1's on softs, he's on hards. This is insane. I would expect Marinello Baby in this lap. I said that last lap, but definitely for sure, 1000% maybe, possibly, in this lap.
Well, we have a lovely helicopter angle of Marinello Baby going down that back straight, looking towards Parabolica. Is he coming in this lap? That's the big question. You think yes, you thought that last lap and it didn't work out. Myth getting a penalty, that would be big for Mizzo. Yep, here he comes then into the pits this time, you were right. Sure, they're going to have to go softs again. 10 laps on the softs, very easy to do. Pace would be great.
Beaker's in 15 laps on the mediums. It's soft time for Beaker. But without another safety car, I don't see how he's going to beat these one-stoppers. Or these people that stopped under the safety car.
I don't think he will either, actually. That's a big sign. That's, you know, that's part of the racing that you get in Formula 1. You know, if you make those decisions at the wrong times, it can really screw you over. Danico and Copy, the two Renaults, going to be scrapping for P5. Well, they have got P4 in sight. It is Brownie, like you said earlier. He has got that, you know, that strategy locked in. Despite how bad his first lap was, he's still reeling in a really good points position. I'm just sad for JC, who has had such a great race. And that didn't even need my commentary cursor. That was just purely off his own back. You know, he made a mistake coming out of turn 4-5 and get on that gravel. Lost too much time. And as a result, it's a 1.5 second gap between him and Camille, and Rainbow within DRS range.
It is, but Camille running very low on DRS. In fact, he's run out. He's on 5% right now, which gives some sort of hope for JC. And I'm just wondering maybe if he can work with Rainbow, maybe trade slipstreams or something like that. It would be very hard to make work without any communication, but that's the only way I see it.
I wonder if the Renault boys are actually going to work together here to try and work on 4-5, you know. If they can lock in the 4-5 and force Brownie into a P6, that would be fantastic. You know, they are still on slightly better hards than Brownie, but we are literally talking 2 laps. When, in terms of difference, that's not really going to make much of a difference at all, but they do have the benefit of the tow. Danico favours it better, and he has 2 cars worth of tow. The But the ERS is going to be the main factor here as to what they can do to Brownie. If they can't force him to burn it away, then ultimately it's just going to stay as is. There might be a switch in the Renaults, but other than that, Brownie's still going to finish P4. Unless Myth has crazy pace.
I'm still not convinced these mediums can run to the end. I'm really not. 9 laps to go. That's taking him to 22. I don't know.
Well, we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah. I think these guys could well be, well, Brownie, Copy, and Danico could be fighting for P2.
I mean, the thing is, they don't know this at the minute, obviously, unless they've got the race engineer talking to them. I don't even know if they have one in these races, but if they do, then they will be able to play that long game and work out where they'll finish, P3, 4, if that's how it stands right now. JC and Rainbow on the same age of mediums. We'll see who struggles the most, but JC's little off earlier might indicate that he's actually struggling already.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just using Beaker as a bit of a measuring stick. He was in at lap 15, and they're about to hit that next lap, so I don't know. They'll definitely be slower, and I think it will be a close run contest for these final podium spots. I don't know. I don't think there's an option for them to pit, really. I think they have to go for the end. It's all or nothing, very much so.
Well, Beaker saying the new fastest lap of 1:21.561 is currently the time to beat, and I think as these guys that are on the soft runners, we're looking at Yonti and Maranello maybe as well as Beaker, they may potentially be able to chuck in a faster lap time overall. We'll see as they go along. We have only lost one driver in this race so far. It is Dennis. Envy wasn't actually meant to be here, just accidentally joined as the session was left in friends only. Rookie mistake.
Rookie mistake. And rookie commentators as well. Just a rookie league.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
All right. Rainbow actually closed that gap really nicely to the back of Just Chillin'. Look at this, 3/10, and it's going further down. Keep an eye out for the home straight battle now, because Just Chillin', who did go around the outside earlier, made a beautiful move as Myth gets another penalty. That's now 6 seconds, I believe. Just Chillin' is very much under attack now. He's surely got to be eyes locked in the mirrors, trying to work out how he can defend this. Ultimately, you can't, not when the DRS is so strong here. Straight on by goes Rainbow, and Just Chillin's going to have to manage Rainbow's ERS and just attack him later on in this race.
Yeah, I think Just Chillin might be slightly relieved that Rainbow's passed. It was an opportunity for him to charge his battery up and just takes the pressure on him for a few laps, and he can compose himself and have a go later on in this race.
Okay, I mean, JC's doing a very good job to stay alongside him. He's actually making very minimal mistakes overall, and Rainbow's still in a grand position overall. P2, if the tyres can make it to the end. This is 2 podium spots that are up for grabs. Brownie, sorry, is a little bit too far out, 3.7 seconds. Yes, he's on the hards, and we know those tyres will go to the end. It's just now, how good are these two at managing the tyres? Can they get to the end? And that one-time penalty might make a massive difference.
It
right.
isn't enough at the moment, but
no, it's not. I mean, it would have to be another one at least to be able to affect it, and that's again based on if they can take these mediums to the end. Which, if you're right in what you're saying, then yeah, there's a likely chance that that's not going to matter anyway.
Yeah, I'm not usually right, so probably we'll see these in the end. I mean, they can't pit. It's past the point where it's realistic to pit.
Yeah.
Just Chilling does take the lead a lap later. That kind of confirms to me that JC is the quicker driver, but Rainbow is happy to just sort of tag along and is benefiting massively from the slipstream and DRS combo.
Yeah. Speaking of, Maranello Baby doing the exact same to Spicy, swapping of positions there up to P9. The hard part now for Spicy is staying on the back of Maranello Baby. These brand spanking new softs, or at least 4 lap old softs, is going to be so much faster than these 12 lap old mediums. He should be able to work his way closer to Mizzo, considering the tyre that they're on. Mizzo's actually really looked out this race. He was doing so well off the start, but yeah, that choice to not pit clearly backfired. Although it might not, you never know. If JC and Rainbow are the indicators here, it might be the difference maker, to be honest. Safety cars can make a break.
Down. The gaps are coming down. It's 6.5 between Myth and Danico. Obviously, Myth is going to drop back with penalties, but Mizzo being able to tag along in the slipstream and maintain the same pace means that they're going to catch that group at the same time. And the group's going to be on seriously worn rubber by the time they do. If they do. They've got to catch a second a lap so far. I think they'll get close, but I don't think they'll be anywhere near them yet, to be honest.
Rainbow and JC going at it yet again. They're actually going to be into the braking zone. JC's going to be losing that position before we get into it. And I think ultimately for the remainder of these 5 laps, or 6 laps if you count the remainder of the one they're on right now, I think they're going to be just chopping and changing non-stop.
And a big slide, a big wiggle from Myth coming out of the Parabolica means he drops back to P8 behind Mizzo. Mizzo takes up the torch, takes up the charge for P6.
Right. Copy and Danico, they haven't swapped places. They've also not done anything to Brownie. The ERS levels, though, for Brownie are around about 38, thereabouts, whereas Copy's is more than double that. Danico, slightly less than that. He's only 51% after the second Lesmo. So, you know, Renault's still looking good here. There's an opportunity to get that position away from Brownie, maybe even drop him down 2 places if they can push, but the other thing they got to think about is they can't afford to get penalties. So don't rule them out, but also don't count them in.
No, I mean, one slightest millisecond across the right line and the white line in the wrong place could just bring an end to this race for one of these drivers. But I was going to say the same thing about Copy. His ERS much higher than the other 2 around him. And it's generally a good indicator of how well a driver's coping in these conditions and how quick a driver is. And the gap between Brownie and Just Chillin' is dropping. It's 2.3 now. The crossover has come as Just Chillin' nudges Rainbow into the first chicane. But yeah, the hards are currently quicker than the mediums.
Yeah, especially considering the age of the tyres. You know, Brownie even on 20-lap-old hards is actually faster than 18-lap-old mediums. That goes without saying, but the pace difference is actually really quite scary now for JC. If you think about it, P3 is where he's sat. Rainbow having a little bit of issues going through turn 4-5 is kind of holding JC back a little bit. He wants to pass, but he knows he's got to play the long game. He can't just pass Rainbow and then just hope that Rainbow keeps up or hope that he falls away, whichever. Because anytime he pushes, he's going to burn these tyres away. And he's still got 4 more laps to go. And like you said, going this distance on these tyres is not going to be good news for either of them. But JC's forced into passing. He hasn't got a choice because he knows Rainbow's coming. He's ran deep. That's not good. This is going to bring Rainbow right back into this. It could actually work out better for JC if he can let Rainbow go. JC will benefit on the home straight and will regain P2 later.
Yeah, I think Rainbow tried to let him through in Ascari, but JC runs deep anyway, compromising both their runs down the back straight, which decreases that ever-shrinking gap to P4. And this is really good news for Copy and Danico, who have just been taking it easy. And Copy finally makes his move. This is P4, but it could well be P2 in a couple of laps' time.
Well, maybe even less than that. Look at the gap already. 1.4 separates Copy and Rainbow. Clearly the battling bit. Oh, Copy's gone off. That was a big mistake. Yeah, now Danico's jumped up those places, and he's going to be looking to fire up on Brownie as well. Brownie's got far less exit speed than Danico does, but he has the outside line through turn 4. This is going to be really bad. There's contact. Brownie puts Danico into the wall, and that is one for the stewards, I think, there.
Yeah, shades of Hamilton and Leclerc, but interestingly, Danny gets in the way of Copy. I think in normal circumstances, you want to let your teammate through.
I think he's still going to do that. Yeah, he's letting through there. That he had to. He knows that wing damage is going to hold them both back. Yep. And just letting Copy go means that, all right, my race is ruined. There's no point ruining yours as well. We still have 3 laps to go. As Rainbow and JC are still at it.
1 second gap. But that has given them a stay of execution. It's 2.6 seconds now, the gap between P2 and P3 and P4.
Yeah. JC really needs to go and buy himself a lottery ticket. In fact, they both do, because they have really looked in today. This has been a really hard race for both of them. And honestly, they've not put a foot wrong at all. You know, there's been a couple of scares, let's be honest. Rainbow coming up to the back of JC again, going for a nice, easy DRS overtake again. And again, this is just going to keep happening. The worry is that if they do this each lap for the next, or for the remainder of the laps, JC will lose out to Rainbow, and Rainbow will finish P2. So if you're JC, you're in an awkward position. If you're Rainbow, you're loving life. Yeah, I'll just stay as this is, please.
And Copy, I think he needs to clear Brownie now. I think he has to. He has to try and make it on his own, I think, because Brownie is not showing that good a pace.
No.
He's dropping back to these guys on mediums. He's saving energy, and I think Copy has to take the initiative here and try and take the fight to these front two.
I mean, Danico's still got a shot at getting past Brownie, if I'm being honest. Like you said, Brownie's pace on these hards does not look that good. Danico, even with wing damage, is still staying in the DRS of these two. And that's ultimately what it can come down to. The final lap battle in a couple of laps' time will dictate, as Danico's ran deep into the Ascari, and that's not worked out for him at all, but he's okay. He does have a penalty, remember. He does have a thing as 3.
That's Danico trying to cope with the lack of downforce as best he can, taking an interesting line, but you kind of have to take an interesting line when you've got no front grip. This Copy goes into Brownie there and takes a really wide exit through Parabolica, which is going to cost him a lot of time. JC has dropped below a second. He hasn't got DRS.
No, he made a big mistake somewhere. I didn't see exactly where. I can only assume it was, Ascari. As, that's the only place you can really lose that amount of time, as Mizzo's made a move on Myth. Myth's coming back at him, down the inside in towards turn 1, and Mizzo just didn't give the room. There was a bit of contact, no damage on either car, but that was definitely a compromised line there for Myth. He tried to stick his nose in where it was not really wanted. Mizzo shut the door on him, and I guess you could argue, is that fair?
All is fair in
Love and racing?
Motor racing, I guess.
Yeah.
We've seen a fair share of incidents this afternoon, but 2 laps to go. I think we might have a couple more in store between the Renault boys. Brownie clinging on to that 4th place by the skin of his teeth, and I think there will be a conversation with the dreaded stewards after this race.
I think there might be a couple, if I'm being honest. You know, some of the actions that have happened on track, they've not been atrocious by any stretch of the imagination, but they have been just a bit too elbowy, a bit too aggressive, too many handbags being thrown out.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see what happens later. Let the stewards sort that one out. We just do what we're good at, which is commentators cursing. Brownie. Oh, I thought Brownie was going to go in the pits. He faked out like he was going in.
I was
scared me for a second.
But they're getting dangerously close to JC right now. They're within a second.
Oh, big. Has Camille got a puncture? I think he has. Somebody said Camille's got a puncture, and he looks like he's got something wrong with him. Yeah, he has rear left. A big issue for him now. He was looking so good for him.
Can he nurse this home? I don't think he can do it in first.
He also has a 10-second penalty, by the way. I think he just cut through turn 1 and just went straight over the other side of it. His race has just been absolutely destroyed here. He cannot win now.
I think we can probably forgive him if he got a puncture down the main straight.
I mean, potentially, but he's still getting. There's surely no way he can cross the line ahead of him. This is a very scary last lap now for Camille. He's trying so hard to keep the car, pointing in the right direction. And I give him credit where credit's due. Oh, he's keeping the slide going. But look at the gap dropping. Rainbow's coming for this as well. You can see how close Camille actually is now. Rainbow's like, oh, what's happened? The stars have aligned. The planets are actually working out for me. And JC's about to lose to Brownie as well.
He really needs to watch out because Camille is going to be massively unstable and massively scary. And Camille does not hold that inside line. He manages to
JC, no! JC's lost in Parabolica. Oh, he was going so well.
P2, yeah, with a 3-second time penalty, does take P2. But a win for Rainbow. Head down to your nearest casino, put it all on whichever color you feel like it, whichever number you feel like. It is your lucky day.
Yeah.
What a win.
Yeah, very well done by Rainbow to achieve that. I mean, obviously Camille dropping like a stone due to that massive 10-second penalty and more. The tire popping there was less than ideal for him. Let's be truthfully honest. He did so well to keep the car going and keep it, still maintaining that level of pace he maintained, but still. A big sad for him, if we're being truthfully honest, and it is Rainbow who will get that win. JC, though, you've got to feel for him. He was still running even for P3. That was almost guaranteed there with the fact that Camille lost the tyre. But then JC just lost it the final corner of the final lap, and he goes into the wall. That is less than ideal. But here's your rundown at the end of the Italian Grand Prix. It is Rainbow taking the race win, very well deserved, from P6. Brownie starting in P10, finishing in P2. And you mentioned earlier about how strategy could work out for him, and it really did. Copy there, P3. Mizzo, P4. Maranello Baby, P5, with Danico, P6. Myth, P7. Spicy P8, Yonti P9, Camille, even after getting 13 seconds of penalties, he only falls to P10, with Beaker there getting best of the rest award, JC finally getting across the line in P12, Kagan in 13th, and then Dennis being the only DNFer of the race. Which leaves me with the final question for you, Mr. Dave Forsatime. Who's your driver of the day?
Is that based on performance or based on sheer luck?
Well, whichever.
Wow. I mean, it was going to be dead on Camille, but as we saw, maybe a slight chink in his armor in the sense that all that fighting, all that pace, but fell short when it came to tire management. So I think it has to go for the guy who kept those mediums alive, and our race winner, Rainbow.
Well, that is it for the European Racing Series Grand Prix here in Italy. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate for you. I've been Ben Rag McConnell, and joining me has been Dave Forsatime Tate. And thank you so much for joining me as always. You are a legend, and I'm glad that we do this every Tuesday. We should continue to do so.
That is my plan. I hope that's your plan.
It is.